If you are a creative introvert growing your service-based business while working full-time, come on into the room. Let's talk about it. Actually, hold on. Let me make sure my phone is on Do Not Disturb. And I don't want nobody interrupting. So welcome into the room. A question that I get asked often is about how I found success running my business as an introvert while working full time. And if you know me and if you've been here, you know that I say, if one person has a question, 100 people have a question. Hey, Arvella. And I ran my business for 3 years before I left corporate America. And so I just wanted to kind of come and talk about some of the things that worked for me, some of the challenges that I had, some of the things that worked really well, and most of all, answer any question that you guys have, because I work with introverts that want to build a profitable business, right? But they also want to avoid the burnout. And we know that because our energy is finite, it's not infinite, it sometimes straddles that line of overwhelm and burnout. So I worked in corporate America for 26 years in sales and marketing. And for the last 3.5 years of my time in corporate America, I also ran Pink Leaf Consulting. And so this is going to be super casual. Like I said, I'm just going to tell you guys kind of some of the things that I did. Hopefully this will be insightful for you and answer any questions that you have. So one of the very first things that I did is I made sure I got enough rest. Now, I am a person who used to be able to survive on a little bit of rest. I could, go to sleep at 1, 2, pop up at 7, like just spry, like nothing ever happened. But when I started my business, I realized that it was going to take more out of me and that I was going to have to work harder and be more disciplined than I ever had to in my life. And for me, that discipline started with me getting enough rest. The difference was there was no fog. There was no snooze. When I made sure that I was well rested, I could get up out the bed and just go. So that's the first thing I did. The second thing I did was I got up earlier than my family. I did. I got up earlier than my family. I got up an hour earlier and I worked on my business every single morning for 45 minutes. The other 15 minutes that I allotted for myself, Arvella said, you're already talking to me. The other 15 minutes that I had, I prepped some part of my dinner. Whether it was me chopping vegetables, whether it was me seasoning and preparing my meat. If I was ahead of the game and I prepared dinner the night, like when I made dinner the previous night, I would take out dinner for tomorrow and season that thing up. So when in the morning, I could actually cook at par. So if you don't know what cooking at par is, so imagine if you have chicken breast, and it's supposed to cook for 30 minutes. That's not how long they cook. But let's just say it's supposed to cook for 30 minutes. I would cook them for 15 minutes. So that way, when I got home from work at 6 o'clock, I only needed an additional 15 minutes to get dinner on the table. Because I did like for my family to eat dinner at a certain time. I like for my kitchen to be clean by a certain time. Because guess what? When I got home from work, I had work to do in my business, right? So work on my business for 45 minutes and then I would prep dinner for that night. But what I want to tell you about me working on my business for 45 minutes, I would only set 1 to 2 tasks. Because I know how I work. I know how my brain works. And I didn't want to overwhelm myself before I went to this very demanding job, right? So I would set 1 or 2 tasks and that's it. On my way to work, I would be listening to a podcast or a live stream or to my coach or my strategist. I cut out music for enjoyment on my way to work. My commute to work was 25 minutes. So for 25 minutes on my commute into the office, I'm being indoctrinated with whatever it is that I'm learning, whatever it is, that skill gap, that knowledge gap, I am listening to that thing. So I would get to work. I got an hour lunch break. On my lunch break, guess what I was doing? I would go to my car, open my laptop, work in my car. In the summer, there was a park across the street from my job. I would go to the park and work on my business. There was a coffee shop across the street. I would go to the coffee shop and work on my business. My lunch break then became business and lunch. So I would set aside, 15 to 20 minutes for me to actually consume my lunch at peace. And then the rest of the time, I was working on my business. Very specific, very pointed, and I knew exactly what I would be working on before the day even started. So what I know about us introverts is sometimes when we are making decisions in the moment, that leads to overwhelm, right? Because we're making decisions all day long, and decision fatigue is a real thing. I still get decision fatigue. I don't want to make a decision. Like if I need to buy something, tell me why I need it and tell me how to pay you, right? That is who I am. So make the decisions on what you're going to work on up front. When I would come back from my lunch, of course, then I had to commute home, right? Another 20 to 25 minutes. I was likely listening to a podcast or to a live stream. Again, something related to business. If I'm telling the whole truth, you know what I would also do? If I was learning something, I would record it in my own voice. I would read it to myself, doopty doopty whoopty whoop, record it in my voice notes on my phone. And now I'm listening to myself reading that thing so that I can remember it. Okay. I also only saw clients 2 days a week. So, you might not know this if you're new here, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays is when I do consulting. Guess where that started? In corporate America. Why did I do that? Because Tuesdays and Thursdays were my lightest days in my job. So I already know I have a demanding job. I have a team of 7. It was an overwhelming job. It was great. I loved it. I was doing the same thing I do now. But what I would do, hold on one second. My brother's at the door. Let me buzz him in. Sorry, y'all. I have a little camera right here. Okay. So yeah, Tuesday and Thursday nights is when I saw clients. So on Tuesday and Thursdays, I saw clients from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I knew that this was going to happen every single Tuesday and Thursday. So what did I have to do on Tuesday and Thursday? At that time, my daughter was a teenager, a young teen. I think my daughter was maybe like 14-ish or something like that. So guess what? I had to bring my daughter in, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, she helped mom with dinner. Right? Because I already told you in the morning, I would cook things par. I would make my vegetables. I would chop my vegetables. I would season my meat. And so it was easy for my family to, on those 2 days a week, make it work while I was not there. What else did I do? I'm trying to think. Most importantly, because I know my people and y'all want to leave y'all jobs. Every single person that I have worked with that has been my ideal or my dream client or someone that I desire to work with wants to leave their job. My ladies are on like a 3 to 5 year plan to leave corporate America. So let's talk about it, right? So in my mind, I'm leaving corporate America. And I started my business April 24th, 2019. And I'm like, okay, exit strategy, execute. Like I am ready for my exit strategy, but I was scared. I ain't even gonna hold you. Your girl was scared because at the time, listen, I was making 6 figures. I'm 36, 37. I'm making 6 figures, right? Like that's everybody go like, what you want to get to 6 figures. And I needed to know that my business could produce for me. I needed to feel certain that my business could replace my salary because even though I have a very hardworking husband, he's a provider. Amen. I never wanted to feel like me leaving this job would put my family in any kind of financial constraints. Right now, I know my mortgage is going to be paid because, and my bill's going to be paid because hubby take care of that. But, you got a whole lot of other incremental bills and things, credit card bills, student loan, all kind of things that you are responsible for. And so that scared me. And so I didn't move as quickly as I wanted to. But let me tell y'all something. When God has a plan for you, you're going to move. You're going to move regardless of whether you want to move or you're going to move. He's going to close the door. So I created my exit strategy and I put 1.5 years on my exit strategy. And I'm like, okay. So the date came for me to get ready to, implement that strategy. And I got scared. And then COVID happened. And so as y'all know, March 6th in Maryland anyway, March 16, 2020, state shut down. And so we had the call with corporate and they're like, okay, everybody's going to, work from home. And instead of 40 hours at this point, because I was in hospitality, instead of 40 hours, we're going to do a 20-hour work week and we're going to cut your salary. And in my mind and in my spiritual mind, that was God saying, listen, I told you to go. I closed that door. And daughter, the only reason you were still there is because of the money. So let me go ahead and take some of that from you, right? Because it's time for you to move. But if you're not going to move, let me take some of that thing that was making you stay there. And the beautiful thing that I learned in that is, wait a minute. I'm only making 50% of my salary, but my lifestyle ain't changed. Then you wonder, well, where the heck did that money go? What was I doing with the money? Because life did not change. I still had everything I wanted. We still, there was nothing. I was not missing the money. And I really think that was God's way of showing me I got you. You don't need this.